Hello, everybody. I think we're live here. Trying to get comfortable in my seat here before anybody shows up. I am trying to talk tonight about grief and heartbreak and fear and anxiety and all the things that trap us in a prison of our own making. I know that we often don't see it when we are digging ourselves into the ground down deeper and deeper into hell. We don't even notice what we're doing. That's the trick. We are manipulated into thinking that we can lean on our own understandings, that we can figure out the meaning in our life, the purpose in our life, that we can forge a path of our own. This rugged individualism that we are all taught, especially Americans. But I've learned that there is no leaning on your own understanding. We will always fail. We will always fall off and fall astray and take the easy path until we finally open our eyes and see that there is a higher power that is guiding us. There is a higher power that is calling us towards the actual meaning in our life, not just the one that we create. The meaning that we create is shallow. It is unfulfilling. We will always find that when we do try to forge our own path and create our own meaning and the old follow your dreams line we've always been fed, we'll never be happy unless we follow our dreams. We have to always follow those passions in our life. Those passions in our life are there. The talents we have are there to help us on the path that God plans out for us. God has paved the way for us. Jesus Christ has paved the way for us. And if we do not follow him, we will falter, we will fail, we will be destroyed at every turn. Timothy, the Blue Wrench of Power is back. Great to see you, brother. Yeah, we have to stay calm. We have to keep in the peace of the Lord. That's one thing I see too many Christians trying to, they get so angry. They get so spiteful and vengeful. Christians are always going to be persecuted. Every step of the way. Most of the time, if you're not being persecuted, you're not doing something right. So we prepare our way. We are prepared all through our lives, through our younger days, when we keep on failing, keep on trying and keep on failing, when we still have the strength to do it, and we keep getting knocked back down. And eventually we come to find out that we're not strong enough to swim against the current. We're not strong enough to keep fighting the forces of darkness and the forces of light. Process of letting go of what doesn't get a person closer to Jesus. That's right. And it is a process. Let me tell you, I have failed miserably many times. So many times. I thank God for the grace I've been shown, because I am not worthy of any of it. I'm not worthy of his love, and he gives it to me anyway. I was without hope completely, and he gave it to me. Let's see here. Oh, well, thank you, Hudson. I appreciate that. I like coming on the internet. They always tell me I'm cute or I look good. I really do appreciate that. The beard is getting bushy. Like, I need to probably trim it down, but you guys let me know if you want me to keep growing it. I'll grow it out past New Year's, at least. But it just gets wild. But yeah, I'm not a lot to look at, but I'm not a lot of anything. That's why it was so miraculous when God saved me, because I was a nobody. I'd come to think that I was nobody. And when I was disabled at the age of 30, I'm 44 now, it all went downhill and it spiraled so hard. Before that, I just had this facade of, putting the mask on every day, trying to go out and just impress as many people as I could, just with the dumbest things. I would, hey, look how strong I am. Look, how funny I am. Look how, fill in the blanks. I didn't have a lot of going for me. Strength and humor were two of my main talents, but I used them as much as I could, and to try to fit in. Hey, Dina, I am in the USA, North Carolina. How are you doing? Where are you from? Timothy, actually use reverse psychology. What would Jesus do? Yes, that's just like I say every day. Walk in faith. What would Jesus do? Ask why God has brought you there. That the what will Jesus do is always a good question to have, even though it's the cliched thing, burnout in the 90s. But really, it is transformational if we always ask, what would he do? Because we don't want to hear the answer most of the time. And I surely don't follow the path that he laid out for us nearly enough. I try to, but the spirit is always willing and the flesh is always weak, for sure. Hey, Jose, how you doing? Hollywood. God bless you, brother. Timothy, when someone realizes it's better to stand on a rock than be tempted to test out a bad hand glider. Yes, for sure. Don't be the first to test the prototype hand glider. That's right. Jose firing 7 yo. Do I know? I don't know who you're talking about there, brother. Sorry. Maybe I do. I just don't know. I don't know if that's a trolling thing or a serious question. Timothy, once in a while, Leonardo da Vinci will use the wrong material. The idea is nice, but bad choice of material. That's right. Yeah, because, yeah, Leonardo was obviously a genius, and he was obviously one of the great innovators and artists of all time. And you make one wrong choice. It's like I always say, our our life is like a ship sailing across a vast ocean, far, you know, endless miles until our destination. And one little tiny half a degree off course, and everything goes wrong. Everything. We end up thousands of miles away from our destination, and we don't even realize it. We are in America, especially, we are brainwashed with so many disturbing things because our society is so corrupt and we live in such a fallen world and we don't even think about it. We are really worshiping false gods sometimes or coming close to idolatry with just not even thinking about it. AI tech isn't ready. Yeah, I think AI tech, the problem with a lot of AI is who programs it. And we have people programming it. I can't speak tonight. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'll tell you guys what's been going on here in a minute. But yeah, the people programming AI obviously have an agenda, and the AI is programmed to meet their agenda. Do you believe in Trump? I believe in God, and I voted for Trump. I believe that Trump gives us more Christian policies than Kamala did by far, but I don't believe in any man. I don't put my faith in any man or woman. I only trust in God, and He allows me to reflect the love and the grace and the trust somewhat, but it usually applies to the ones we love the most. Gave up on trying to figure out whom the trolls are. They are boring. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you don't know because they'll come in and act like they're here to join the conversation, but then boom, hits you with a sexual innuendo or something. you know, Wants to beat a troll with their own game. Yeah, there you go. You got to become the enemy, right? Know your enemy. Key lime. I mean, my God, did you vote for Trump or not? Or no? Just a question. Yes, I voted for Trump. Sorry. I'm sorry I didn't answer you fast enough. I'm trying to read everybody's comments. Key lime. Let's see, Timothy, or at least knowing that most of the trolls are just brain dead. Like to break things, find out how durable the product is. Yes, sir. Yes, they do. Uh, Sangita, hello. Hi, sir. Am I big fan you? Please give you $100, please. If you'd like to donate $100, I would be thankful. Thank you. I am poor, so I can't really help out if you need money. I'm trying to. It's been a crazy day. Found out my mom went back into the hospital today. Uh, she's been in a nursing home rehab. She's a stroke victim, so she's been in bad health, and they told us it was a urinary tract infection. And then when she got out of the ER into a regular room, they said, no, that's the least of her problems. She might have sepsis. So, and she's very weak to try to fight it off. So I went to the place I was saved, which is, by a beautiful lake in the Raleigh area, and just prayed as hard as I could. I tried to get lost in God's creation, and just when we are feeling the grief and the heartbreak or even the anxiety of someone we love might be dying, or might leave us, or might betray us, we start going through all of these different scenarios in our head, and we start thinking, you know, well, if it's a relationship, a romantic relationship, do they really love me? Are they out cheating on me? Or are they going to leave me at my lowest point and just leave me here all alone? And I mean, you will make up things that are just out there, because that is the seduction, the manipulation of the devil. I did one video today. I actually did two of them, but one of the ones I can't even release because I realized all the crunching of leaves and all the sound of the little creek next to me, it just was drowning all my voice out. But I was talking about the C.S. Lewis quote, and he said that we are, I'll paraphrase, we're like ignorant children in the slums making mud pies, unaware of the offer of a holiday at sea or a holiday by the shore. Think of your dream vacation, your dream destination, and we are just these ignorant children still just making mud pies, unaware of the offer that God gives to us, the calling of Jesus Christ. It is everything that we've been searching for and never even knew most of the time. We have this longing inside of us, and Christ is a beckoning figure, just always deep in our consciousness, where we can't even understand, because sometimes we get a little glimpse of our the spirituality of our existence. You know, some people say it was, you know, you get it with deep meditation, some with psychedelics, all these things. And we get the glimpse, but what we're doing in the process of this is we're letting ourselves, we're opening up to darker forces. Because unless you try to explore your spirituality and you are focused on God, who protects you through the whole process, then we are just floating aimlessly through space, aimlessly through this place that we don't even understand, and it just swallows us up. And until we can finally pry our eyes open, we won't understand. And we live in this prison of our own making, down in hell. We are stuck in a hell when we are in depression, anxiety, fear, anger, jealousy, all of the dark emotions. It's a prison we're building brick by brick. You see, the devil is not in the business of building prisons or even guarding them. We build them ourselves, and the devil, he leaves the door wide open. He doesn't have to guard the prison at all because we are not leaving. We think we deserve to be there, or we think he makes us see this beautiful thing there, this escape. You know, the drugs and the alcohol, the addiction, the you name it, the lustful relationships, adulterous relationships, any kind of sin. We are seeing it as something meaningful, something that will fill us up with purpose. And it always lets us down. But there we are, stuck in our own prison, not only building the walls up, but also digging down lower and lower until we come to the realization that we're so far down in the depths of hell that we don't even know what to do. We don't even know what the next move should be. We just stay there, just cowering little scared animals. You know, have you ever seen an animal falling down a well just looking so sad? Or if you watch the YouTube videos, the little puppies or kittens that fell down in the sewer drains, that's what we are. We're those scared little animals. We're those ignorant children not knowing of the promise that is called out to us, and we just ignore it because we think we know what's best. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed a lot of your stuff here. Hey, Raven King, how you doing? Um, oh, Keelan, yeah, I didn't know where you're going with that. You're like, come on, tell me who you voted for. Yeah, I voted for Orange Man for sure. There, to me, as a Christian, you know, if you listen to some of my older videos, there wasn't even a question. Of course, Trump is nowhere near perfect. I see him as like a King David type figure who was, you know, obviously not to that extent, but like a low rent King David, we'll say. But King David was so flawed and just always turned away from God. And he wrote his laments out. You can read. I like to tell people to read Psalm 22 and then read Psalm 23 after it, because you have to read Psalm 22 if to understand the beauty of Psalm 23. Most of you know Psalm 23, even if you aren't a Christian. It's the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Just one of the most beautiful, beautiful Psalms ever written. The most beautiful poetry ever written. And before it is just a lament about suffering and being separated from God. And it starts out with the same thing, Jesus's last words, well, close to his last words on the cross. Lord, Lord, why have you forsaken me? Okay. How old is she? My mom is 60, 60, or no, she's in her, I'm saying 60s. She's 73 now, I believe. Yeah, so she's, and she's been a stroke victim for, man, over 2 years now. Yeah, because it's going on 2 years since I've been saved, and she had a stroke about a month and a half before I was saved. Timothy Gallagher, Timothy Gallagher. I'm reading your whole name. The Blue Wrench of Power. Again, there's a lot of health issues. Boggles the mind. I thought medical tech would fix things for sure, and it's made it worse. The whole rollout of the mRNA vaccine has been a nightmare, or Ozempic. Ozempic. It's going to kill you real slow. My father had a very bad mishap, and my one of my cousins died, and she was relatively healthy, and that's the only thing they think of. It was the Ozempic. She had similar things to what my father had. Well, that means perhaps we haven't realized there's a coastline for sure. Yep, we can't see it. At least look around for options geographically. Yeah. Yeah, if you prefer the mountains or the lake, or skiing, or the beach or wherever, think of the perfect getaway vacation there, and we are just children just playing in the mud, not aware of it, not aware of the offer that God is giving us. Drill, baby, drill. That's right, Assad. How you doing, brother? Timothy, utilizing the resources that are available, at least the kitchen, plumbing, laundry, room facility is better than nothing. That's true. Left wing, right wing of the dragon gives power to the beasts. Yeah, well, it definitely does. Politics is a monster, but we'll see what happens with this. I'm not going to ever put my trust in any man, but I absolutely supported Orange Man this time. And as I said, it's not because I put my trust in him. It's because I put my trust in God, and the endless wars, the Roe versus Wade, the great economy for the poorest and the middle class, the peace accords in the Middle East and Africa, and all these things. The promise is here, however. Just imagine that aha moment. That's right. The car that drives the presidents around, a Cadillac named the Beast. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I know about the Beast. Timothy, the statistics across the board is rather shocking. Many pick Trump second, thirds. Yeah, yeah. It's the Hispanics. It was what, 50% of Hispanics, I think, exactly almost. And it was 55% men and 45% women, Hispanic women. And they say, how, anti-immigrant he is, and nobody's buying their story anymore. They really aren't. And I just feel so bad for the people who only see the corporate media, because they are lying so often to you, and they do it without a care. They have no journalistic integrity at all. And believe me, there's right wing sources that are just as bad, but they have no power. 95% of the corporate media is far left, giving to Democrat causes, in the bag, were willing to lie, and working with the government too. That is what they always called us, fascists, for supporting Orange Man. Fascism is the corporations working hand in hand with the government. It is that comfortable unity between the party, the state, and the government and the corporations. That's at least what Mussolini described it as, who is the father of fascism. Let's see here. Oop. Oh, hey Nubs, how you doing, brother? Good to see you back. I like to ask people to read Psalms 89. 89. Yeah, I've read it. I've read all the Bible, but it's not coming to mind. But I will. I'll write that down to read tonight, actually, after I get off of here. Psalms 89. There we go. Got you, brother. I'll report back next time. I listen to Psalms sometimes going to sleep, play it on YouTube, but my wife doesn't like noise when we're going to sleep, so that's only when I'm the rare occasions I sleep alone. What it to do, young buck? You're the bestest man. Hi, Mr. Wonderful. It's great to see you, brother. How you doing? 89. Gotcha. Trump is a Timothy. Trump is about to put a blue wrench to the social media sites, entering at Penn State across our address Wednesday. Entering at the Penn State address. I don't know. Oh, is that Pennsylvania Avenue? Is that what you're talking about? Or Penn State University? That's where my dad and my uncle went. You listen to the Dow. Oh, you listen to the Dow. Okay, Nubs, I'm getting you now. So you're the Eastern religion. You like the kind of build your own type religion. I get it. That's where I was for the first year. I thought God was calling me to do like a universalism type thing. Take what's convenient from all the religions, what the best ideas from. Because what I figured there has to be truth in every single religion, right? Because this many people could not be wrong. And so I'll just go and take the best ideas from each religion and build my own. Perfect. Yeah, I'm so smart. The first one to think about that, right? And everything I kept seeing was blatantly false to me. The truth was there were kernels of truth everywhere. Don't get me wrong. There's always kernels of truth. The best lies and best manipulations have kernels of truth to lure us in, being like, oh well, that can't be false because I know this is true. But that's how they get you with propaganda too. They give you a little bit of truth and they sprinkle in the lies. And the biggest lie is that all the other religions, they don't have that ultimate hope. They do not have that figure, God himself coming down to earth to show us how to live by example, not just by coming down and saying, this is God, this is what you should do. Jesus came down and lived it. He taught, he broke bread with the poorest and the weakest and the oppressed, and he suffered so much. We can't even imagine how much he suffered because obviously the torture and the crucifixion were bad. But then when he went for the 3 days and 3 nights to hell, he paid the penalty for every sin that ever was and ever will be. And that, there's no time in the spiritual or wherever hell is. It's outside of space and time where the spiritual lives, and especially the divine. But Jesus was separated from the divine for the first time ever. The first time ever. And he had to go down there and take the punishment for each one of us. But the process of showing us how to live by example is what I think is the most beautiful thing that no other religion even comes close to offering. Not even close. Let's see. Timothy, the idea of being able to walk right in Wednesday at the Oval Office with a nice suit. Yeah. Nods yes. Nubs no. What are you saying no to? Adding some ingredients, press the blender button. Nubs, why do you endlessly attempt to put a title on me? It makes no sense. You just said you trust the Tao. I figured you were into the Eastern religions. Or are you a universalist, like trying to create your own personal religion? I've repeatedly asked you, which you haven't answered. How do you know what God expects of you? How do you know? Are you just creating God in your image? As again, not judging. Everyone does it. Everyone tries to find a God that affirms their lifestyle. It is human nature. It is the original sin from day one. We want the easiest for us, what will benefit us the most. Selfish and always thinking about only our experience and not as what is truly best for us, because we don't know what is truly best for us. Only God knows what is truly best for us, and He shows us through the Bible, through guiding us in life if we surrender our life to Him. He shows us this in such detail. It's amazing how a 2,000 and really a 6,000-year-old book, whenever the first of I guess Job was the first of the Old Testament books written, you know, that ancient book answers every single question we will ever have in our life and gives us the answers to questions we never even understood were important. Great blender, questionable flavor. Nubs, it appears as if your arrogance and your Christianity may be getting construed. I again, I'm just trying to. You come in here questioning my faith, telling me how I'm wrong, and telling me how, this and that about Christianity, and I don't know a thing about your faith. I don't know where you get your ideas of God from. You said the Tao, so I automatically jumped to that. Let's see, Timothy, what title? Got to give Hugo Boss a business name to peddle business suits. Stephen Hill, there was like 10 million less votes this election. Where did they go? Or they die or not vote? Exactly. Exactly. It would have been a landslide. It's called mail in, unchecked, just free for all election in 2020. This is, obviously my opinion based on evidence, based on common sense that everyone was told they must deny or pay the penalty for, pay the price for, you know, having dared accuse anyone of wrongdoing, having dared it. It's so wild. You mean a sky daddy? Yeah, who is? How do you know that you're Sky Daddy? Because you said you believe in God. So there you go. Where is your Sky Daddy, or your spaghetti monster, or whatever? You talk a lot like an atheist, even though you say you weren't an atheist. So who's your Sky Daddy if you believe in God? How do you know what He expects of you? How do you know how He guides you, or is it just what you think is good? Because that's what I think. From just the comments I've gotten from you, that seems like it is. Hugo Boss is going to prove you right then. Where is the account in the ancient strive of Israel? Scribes of Israel, maybe? Or the ancient writings of Rome, other than Josephus, who was not around? I don't know. You are asking people who witnessed miracles to say no. This man committed all these miracles, performed all these miracles, but no, I'm not a believer. I'm not going to believe him. So, I mean, I don't know what you expect. I mean, it's when you have the revelation of Christ, it takes a very, very different kind of person to be like, no, I reject it, and then honestly write about it. I don't think that's going to happen, but you can keep asking for the impossible for sure. Timothy, I'd like to see X suits succeed. Better fabric, won't stain, easier to clean. X suits. I don't know that. Is that like is like those those pants that used to? I think they were big in like the early 2000s, where you'd spill something on them and it would just like splash off to like it was like a funnel going into somebody. I remember one time I spilt like a thing of water or tea or something, and it just went like a chute straight at my wife. Oh, she was so mad. It was so funny there. The Bible says two or three witnesses. The Bible cannot be both witnesses. I'm not sure what that means. There was more than two or three witnesses uh, claiming to be witnesses in the Bible, but okay. And the authors of the Bible claim to have spoken to many witnesses. Now, again, it could be wrong for sure, but the evidence points to it is the best evidence of any ancient figure, the best record of any ancient figure by far. In fact, the most evidence of, or the most investigated of any figure in human history, because it is a figure that changed the world dramatically. To deny it is just to deny reality. Let's see here. You would think if they crucified somebody, they would have written it down, and you would have think they crucified thousands of Jews without writing a thing down about it. They had nonstop political trials that they wrote nothing about. So I don't know. And if they did write it down, which it's true, they probably did. A lot of these writings are not preserved. You you've got to understand how much ancient writings and ancient scrolls and artifacts have not, first of all, not even been found or just been destroyed by either nature or man. The Muslims occupied Jerusalem for how long? So if there were any records there, why would they not burn them? Why would they not destroy them? I would think that if they were trying to try him in Jewish courts, that they would also have written down as these scribes were. No, the only reason that we have records of the early Christians is because they were on the run and they were keeping their writings hidden, and there were very few, and it was mainly verbal teachings. That they were teaching from memory because Jesus spoke in parables and in ways you could remember. For back then, for now, I have trouble remembering, my name sometimes, for sure. Just confused, trying to pick which of the two sales pitch is better. I like like I said, the pants that you can't touch them. They're like bulletproof and waterproof and everything. Nub's Revenge. All I'm asking is that you adhere to your own book and bring me two or three witnesses firsthand account, obviously outside of the book. Again, that is two or three witnesses. Why do they have to be outside of the book? The Bible is not written by one person. The Bible is a collection of books. So I'll give you, multiple witnesses in the New Testament. I said I listened to the Tao. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, you listen to the Tao. That's you're listening. Obviously, it's more of a philosophical book for sure. But it seems like you are more attuned to Eastern religions. Then, I don't know. I'm trying to figure you out. You're not telling me. You can't get to know somebody unless you tell them about yourself. I try to tell you guys about myself all the time, let you know me. That is one thing with God too. We don't ever try to let God know us. That's why, in multiple different gospels, they said, you know, be gone, I never knew you. When we get to the kingdom of heaven, we get to the gates trying to get in, and they never knew us because we never tried to have that personal relationship. Yet another thing that sets Christianity above all other religions is the personal relationship. We cannot have that through any other. Well, I guess we can. We can create anything we want, but we won't have anything to base it on. How long does a 6,000 item last long? 6,000 equal item lasts so long. Really great inking and paper. Paperback novels easily get torn up. Yes, they do, for sure. And that's the only ones I can usually afford, so that's the ones I get. Psalms 82, oh, you're talking about the old scrolls and stuff. Psalms 82 says, "We are all gods and we will die like men." That's in your book. That's the old covenant. You're speaking of the Old Testament, and Jesus even says we are all gods, small g gods, for sure. That is, we ate from the forbidden fruit. The early man, the first man, ate from the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. And the devil even told him, it will give you the knowledge of God. Not all the knowledge of God, but some of it, and it is the darkest knowledge of God. And that's what corrupted us. The flooding has affected many. It has, for sure. Okay, Timothy, thank you for stopping by, brother. I love you so much, and I will see you, I guess, probably next week because I know you said you're not going to be here. You're going to be working. God bless, brother. I live the life Christians talk about. That's good. That's good. I make very few statements. I mainly ask questions and look for proof. You should always be looking for proof. But as I said, you're putting a standard on, you're always raising the goalpost. You're always moving the goalpost. You're always trying to find something wrong. And I get it. You don't want to believe because, as you said before, you were a Christian. Didn't you say you were in the ministry? And when you are young and in the ministry or raised by a very strict family or the kids of a minister or pastor, it's tough because you see the dark side, you see the hypocrisy, you see how Christians act, but you don't pay attention to Christ. You're always looking at Christians and judging them and not trying to go straight to the source. I don't ever say to worship Christians. I say to go and check out Jesus Christ and check out all the other ones, all the other religions and faiths and spiritualities you can, and find which is the most reliable, which has the most truth, which has the most evidence, spiritual and physical truth. I say that I have a creator. Okay, your parents then. So that's who you worship. Prophet of truth, Nub's revenge you haven't explored with an open mind. Absolutely, prophet. Yeah, but maybe it's not his time. I think that if he already has the knowledge of the ministry in his younger days, and he's going to rebel from God, he might be like the prodigal son. He might finally have his eyes open because I certainly did not see the truth at all. I thought Christianity was the most anti-intellectual, just shallow religion because something was keeping me from seeing the truth. And man, I dug deep and I tried hard to not have the Christian God. I was like, no, it can't be because I know all there is to know about Christianity because I know about all the different stories. They taught us in Sunday school and they taught us in church. I had not a clue. Not a clue. C.S. Lewis is one that also I started listening to some of his, and it is profound. The Apostle Paul is one of the most intellectual people of all time. Christ expanded my mind. I was not a deep person, though I tried to think I was. I was not deep at all. I did not know. I just tried to create what was most convenient for me. And I go by experience. I'm not judging you. I have no idea what you do in your personal life for sure, or your faith. No grave and images. It's no grave and images. It's in your book. That means no Muhammad. That means no Muhammad. That means no Jesus. I absolutely do think there was a Muhammad. I don't know what you mean by images. You want a sculpture of a poor carpenter from Nazareth, a poor carpenter from Palestine. I mean, yeah, there was absolutely images made after, The earliest image we just found was it was in a Roman school, and somebody had made like a graffiti making fun of a Christian with Christ hanging on on the cross and saying, uh, Caesar's, not Caesar, but think of a Marcus's savior. It was judge not lest ye be judged, based off of what evidence of my personal life you do assess that over me. Okay. No, I'm not judging you. I am trying to know you, and you're not letting me know you. You're not opening up to me, so I cannot know you. If you don't tell me anything about you, all you're doing is firing accusatory questions at me, and I want you to. I want you to question everything for sure. But we're not getting anywhere if it's not a two-way conversation. You never get anywhere with that. You don't. If you want to talk about faith, for sure, talk about what you believe, why you think that way, why you have distrust of what I believe, and you keep the conversation going. But prophet of truth, Christians or Muslims don't deny Jesus or Muhammad. That's right. Both religions believe each. And I absolutely do believe Muhammad was a real figure in history. I think he was blatantly wrong. He says how the words of the Bible are God-breathed words and the word of God, and he denies the Bible. He turns away from it, especially in the second part of the Quran. The Quran has two parts, an A and a B. The first part, peaceful and according, more in accordance to the Gospels, to the Bible, and then it just takes a dark turn. Rainbow King, hey, how you doing, Rainbow King? Exactly two nubs. Exactly two holy books backing up each other, preaching no grave and images, and both having one. You have so much more than that, though. I mean, it is the explosion of Christian population. It wasn't just the Jews, it was the Gentiles, it was the pagans, it exploded. And the there are no flaws in his moral teachings, and you have to take into account personal experiences too. Well, you don't have to do anything. You can keep on saying no, no, no. But again, I'm a broken record. The 6,700 plus original Greek documents, the early church fathers have 95% of the gospels recorded in their teaching, so we know what they were teaching is the same thing. And yes, it could all be a big conspiracy, but it would have to be one of the greatest conspiracies, because first of all, they would have had to have written the perfect book, the absolute perfect book, detailing the perfect morality, fulfilling all the prophecies of the Old Testament, just and then over the span of decades, centuries, and millennia, they would have had to somehow go back and change the original sources and say, no, we want to change everything in this. So we're going to go back and change everything in this. We're going to have to go into these caves and make sure nobody digs these up and or plant them there so somebody finds them one day. And it's so wild to think of the kind of conspiracy they would have had to have to trick people and to just construct this story, and what was the reason they constructed this story. And you have to go, yeah, it's a lot of different directions that you'd have to go in, and a lot of work. And the bigger a conspiracy, the much easier it gets out that it's all a hoax. And I don't see how they could have even possibly done this unless we are just being spoon-fed information and we don't know anything. Again, anything is possible. We could be in the Matrix. So, I mean, the best evidence points to Christ was real, and he is the best evidence of God, of the nature of God. His truth claim has the best evidence of any major religion, any minor religion, and that is why the most people in the world follow it. Prophet of Truth, more than 66 books, just the decision who was made to these. Also, Apocrypha. Yes, exactly. It's so extensive. Ethiopian Bible has 88 books, not 66. That's true. There are things like the Book of Enoch, and the Book of Enoch is actually quoted in, I think it's in the Epistle of James, First James, and maybe one of the Peter epistles. And so they obviously were following the Book of Enoch, which, there's some problems with the with why it should and shouldn't be in the Bible, but I have no problem believing in the Book of Enoch too, and many of the other books. Nub's Revenge, Wet Graven Images. Yes, Stephen Hill, TS. Caleb, haha, Kamala lost. Thank you, Caleb. I know. It takes a lot for me not to sit here and gloat, because if it was me during the last election, if the 2020 election wouldn't have gone the way of mail-in voter, drop boxes, ballot harvesting, and shadow campaigns to fortify the election, according to Time magazine, then I would have been gloating like crazy too then. But I'm trying not to now, because I want people to open their eyes. I want people to see. I want people to have a good life under Trump, because I want Trump to do what's best for America, for sure. And I have a nephew who's in the armed services, and I want him to be safe, because he is going to be deployed somewhere. He's in this special task force now, and they're going to deploy him somewhere. Who do you think made the Great Pyramids? That's a great question. I think not all, but most of the ancient structures like that were already built before people like the ancient Egyptians got there. Machu Picchu and all these places, they won't let you go and try to. First of all, it's hard to carbon date and date rock and everything, but we have hundreds of tons of stone, these huge pillars that if you tried to ship these pillars today that were in some of these places, go watch Bright Insights, by the way, that he talks about this a lot. If you try to ship these pillars today, it would take millions of dollars, and it took for half of the couple 100-ton stone that they tried to ship, I think in the western part of the United States, it took them over $1 million and over a week to drive there, and over a year of planning to get this one big pillar from one place to the other. And these stones came from sometimes over 100 miles away, shipped from downstream. So they had to go upstream, and supposedly these ancient little canoe-type boats. It is a big lie. There is something before that we don't understand, Mr. Wonderful. That's my opinion. If that is the case, where is the first-hand evidence? Again, Nubs, where's the first-hand evidence for anything? Where's the first-hand evidence for Alexander the Great? Where's the first-hand evidence for Julius Caesar? Where's the first-hand evidence for George Washington? Anybody before we had recording devices? We've got all these things that were just going on, written accounts of. Ethiopian Bible actually has 100 books, including Enoch. Oh, does it? Yeah, I thought it was like 80 or 90 something, but yeah, I guess I'm not too familiar with that then. LMAFO. Prophet of Truth, I am out of cigars and coffee. I hopefully to get home next week, 3 weeks out. That's a long haul, brother. Oh man, out of cigars and coffee? Man, are you just going and buying cheap ones now? Nubs, he was followed by millions and nobody wrote it down from the royal court. Got it. But there were absolutely there was an account of Nero when Rome was burning, saying, "This is the Christians coming to get me," and he ordered the execution of more and more Christians. And there were I don't know what are you talking about? There's accounts all over of Christians, but there's not accounts of the actual Christ, because nobody thought this is a big event. We better write it down, except for his disciples. And the people that were there were all poor. Most of them were uneducated, couldn't read or write. And so Paul went and tried to talk to as many of them as he could. And he got their accounts and he got their stories, trying to learn as much from them as he could. Because Paul was a skeptic too. He didn't, obviously he was completely against Christ and Christians to begin with. He was tracking, torturing, and killing them until he had the revelation of Christ on the road to Damascus. Prophet of Truth, how many actually study and read half of the 66 books? That's a good question. Very few do. In fact, I see more atheists and non-believers who have knowledge of the Bible. Most atheists I know, especially the ones on YouTube and stuff, they love to just comb the Bible, not because they're trying to read it, and try to look at it objectively and have some spiritual experience. They're trying to read it to find the things to use as ammunition against Christians, to try to hurl, things at them, for sure. But they are much more versed on the Bible than most Christians are. I can guarantee you that. Nubs. So not having two or three witnesses, right? There tells you that it's not even following the book that it's in. I don't understand what you are talking about. There are mentioned in the Bible and written in the Bible. It's written by, let's see, six witnesses, six eyewitnesses, and they have the accounts of many others. Oh, nice arms. Thank you. I try to work. I don't work out, but I've been disabled for 15 years. But thank you very much. Hi, where are you from? I am from, originally I'm from all around the East Coast, but I'm in North Carolina right now. I was actually born in North Carolina, but only lived here for like the first year or so of my life, and then moved to Savannah, Georgia, and then up to the northern Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. It was a beautiful area up there, and then came down to Lynchburg, Virginia, and then to Raleigh, and my whole family's in Pittsburgh area. Nubs, just for your information, I actually grew up in the mission field, and I've read the Bible many times, both as a child and as an adult. Very good for you, Nubs. That's great. I have no religion. I have no need for it. I know there is a creator. Past that, I work diligently at walking an honorable path, meaning I am able to have honor and then let it go. Okay, but again, how do you know what God expects from you? Try to walk a diligent path according to whom? I mean, I understand not having a religion. Religion, a lot of people don't want a religion. Why do you want to be associated with people who, if one Christian acts a certain way, we're all labeled because of that Christian? It's just like politics. If one conservative acts in a certain way, then all conservatives are demonized for it. The media gets a hold of it and says, look at how all these millions and millions of people are, tens of millions of people are. Now, does the lion need a personal relationship with its create, or is it just a lion doing what a lion does? Okay, you're a lion. Okay, so you're just following your animal instincts of what is right and what is wrong then, like a lion. But lions don't really, I think, right and wrong. I don't think they go by strength, by power. Strength and power, that's it. Survival of the fittest, for sure. If Jesus ain't who he says he was, then we are all screwed and we're all going to hell. Well, if Jesus isn't, who he says he is, for sure, yeah. I mean, if there is a God, there's a lot of ifs, for sure. But, I mean, if there's just a generic creator, and I guess maybe we'll be reincarnated, like they say, or maybe we're going to be whatever. I mean, there's not a lot of talks of hell in most religions and spiritualities and faiths. But I'll die on that hill. Of course, there's always what if, what if I'm wrong? You have to know you can always be wrong. But I've never felt anything more right when I had the revelation of Christ. When it was apparent to me that all of the meaning in my life, everything in my life finally made sense. All the suffering I went through finally had purpose. All of the mistakes I made and heartbreak I had, it was like prophecies of my past. And for the first year after I was saved, it was just dawning on me. All these things from my past were just like prophecies of what was to come, how God was guiding me the entire time, and then how Christ was beckoning to me. And even when I was saved, I did not see, because God did not want me to see, the revelation of Christ, the revelation of the truth. He wanted me to learn for myself because he knew I'm a stubborn man. I learned from my mistakes. I learned from getting into the investigation of the things, of the truth. Good luck with that, Psalm 89, and at the eternal, everlasting covenant from the Creator. Laugh my A off. Nubs, Stephen, when did Jesus say he was Jesus? I don't know what you say. He told, when he told, before Abraham was, I am, or when he accepted worship, or I don't know what you're talking about there. Stephen Hill, Matthew 11:27. Nub's Revenge. I'm looking to find evidence outside the Bible that it's true, and you will never find evidence outside the Bible. Why? If you saw the miracle of God, divine miracle, with your own eyes, why would you still be, you not believe it? Everyone who saw it believed in it. The Pharisees, they asked for a sign, and he wouldn't give them one because he didn't want them. They were the problem. He was there. They were a big part of the problem he was there for. I'm still not understanding why you need something outside of the Bible. There are sources outside of the Bible. I'll try to dig them up, and the next time I do a live stream, I'll try to read them for you. There are a ton of them. Angela Michelle, so many have come to the saving grace of Jesus by trying to disprove his word. Yes, and it is good. It is good that you spend at least part of your life questioning it, but be genuine in your questioning too. Don't just be like, I hate Christianity, so I'm going to just say everything is wrong. I've given you evidence, and I've given you multiple things of evidence. So have many in here, but you can do it with it what you will. Angel, why would I focus on the flower when the fruit is ready to be picked? Okay. Timothy, hey, you're back again. How heavy are they again? I don't remember what that was. I'm pretty far behind, aren't I? I always get far behind and people get mad at me. Answers in Genesis. Look at that ministry. So much proof. Yes. And Cold Case Christianity. It's a little promo for both those channels. Cold Case Christianity is a former cold case detective, one of the best in the country and in the world. And what he does is he looks at the claims of Christians, of the Bible, of all Christian apologetics, and he investigates them. And he will be genuine about it. He will be honest. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. He'll tell you. Stephen Hill, here's one after the last eclipse, Trump versus Stormy Daniel. Now read Book of Daniel in the storm. Then we got hit with all those hurricanes. Coincidence? I think not. You know what a great and Okay, so NASA has said the Chinese astronomers were some of the greatest record keepers ever, and they were very, very accurate to, what was happening, recording the star events and the solar events and all these things. And it was right around the time when, right before Christ was born, there was a star that had an eclipse come out of it, and they would always record the events, and the emperor would always comment on them, and they were, I forget what he was saying with that event, but at the time, right around when Christ would have been crucified, was the greatest record, because they recorded the eclipse in the Bible, and the astronomers recorded an eclipse at the same time, right around the same time. It was like 31 AD, I believe. And the emperor wrote that when he saw that eclipse, that all sins were upon one man, all pardoned under heaven. And that was what he wrote for the eclipse when he saw it. And he was visibly just moved or shaken by it. And 3 days after the eclipse, they recorded a rainbow aura around the sun. So there was a rainbow aura, like ring around the sun. And it is just, it's profound to read this stuff. So, I mean, that's another. We also have evidence of an earthquake happening around the time of when Christ would have been crucified. They said it was within these certain dates. So we have geological evidence of records of the Bible. We have whole towns that never would have been even known except for references in the Bible, references by the Old Testament or the Apostle Paul or all these people that nobody would have known they even existed. Like Nineveh, we didn't know what Nineveh was except for the Bible references. Marcap International. I am Janu D. I am in Sri Lanka. Nice to see you, brother. I'm glad you joined me. Timothy, have you ever tried to weigh a bunch of heavy objects? Depending on how heavy, but not too heavy, Timothy. I've weighed myself, so that counts. That's a heavy object for sure, according to the book, Nubs. And again, you're thinking of it as a book written by one author with one story. It is multiple books written by multiple authors. The Christians are not Christ. No, they're not. They do not even come close to Christ, for sure. We have Christians who came closer than others, for sure. People like C.S. Lewis and people like, even you look at the life of Mr. Rogers or even Bob Ross, people like this. Just random people that just found the peace and the meaning in Christ. I like to bring up Bob Ross, Timothy, for you. Do you think that they already knew about the technology we have and kept it extremely secret and are a lot more advanced today and just don't tell everyone? I believe so. I believe they have so much knowledge. And they said that the Library of Alexandria was burned down, and all these great fires containing all these ancient scrolls and texts and wisdom. And I believe it was not really, they got everything they needed to out of there first. Unfortunately, I think the Vatican has quite a bit of it, but and they're not letting anyone see it, because to get and see anything in the Vatican, which is like, I think they said like 30 miles worth of space of things just stored down there, artifacts and scrolls and stuff. And you have to know exactly what you're looking for and exactly where you're going, if and be granted access. So it's hard to get access in the first place, but then you have to know exactly what you're going for. You can't just go down there, I'm going to just browse all those little details. Yeah, Timothy. Matea Young, hey, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Why are some denominations affirming of transgender or LGBT people, such as Universalists? Others are just inclusive. And others preach against sin versus person. That's a great question, because a lot of denominations want to take and twist scripture to affirm their worldview and what they think will draw more people in. So they told LGBT people, which they were getting mistreated by Christians, I will say, for a long time. For a long time, we were treating them just disturbingly bad. Just like a lot of people, just like, a lot of Christians justified slavery and all these things, but it is not Christian ideals. They are just making it up to whatever is convenient for them. But these new inclusive progressive churches are dead wrong. Everyone should be welcome at a church for sure. If you're an adulterer, if you're gay, if you're, the T word that I shouldn't have said in the first place, but probably you'll get a strike for that or something. But any of these people should be absolutely welcome. But it's just like, what I like to say is, you check yourself, your identity at the door. It's like taking off your dirty shoes at the door when going in, and you're taking off your baggage, all of that, and you're throwing yourself at Christ's feet, and just, we are all one in the body of Christ. It should not be, come in, we will affirm a certain lifestyle. If you're a thief, we're going to affirm thieves. If it's popular to affirm adulterers, we're going to affirm adulterers. If it's popular to just pretend like any of the LGBT stuff was never even mentioned in the Bible, then that's what we're going to do, to bring seats to the pews or seat and whatever they're sitting on in progressive churches. Who knows? Hay bales? No, that would be. I'd rather sit on a hay bale. Maybe they're sitting on beanbag chairs or futons. Folks can't figure out Fahrenheit, centigrade temperatures, but professional with Bible verses. Yes, absolutely. I was like, oh, it's going to be 15 degrees Celsius is a high tomorrow. What is that? I have no clue. I don't know why my Weather Channel app keeps telling me what Celsius degrees it's going to be, because I live in America and I think that they know that. Are they trying to get me back on the Celsius readings? Okay, Nubs, here we go. Or how do you know what God expects from you? You look to a book, the words of men. Absolutely I do, because it is the account. Yes, it is written by men, and men are fallible, but it is the account of a man who claimed to be God. And every action he made was evidence that he was indeed God. And that is why I know how he acted, what he taught, what he expects from me, how I can open myself and have a relationship with him. But it doesn't all come through the Bible. Again, I had that relationship with God before I even read and understood the Bible. Like I said, I would read it and just not even understand the words. It was like reading numbers on a page. And not until I was saved where the scales fell from my eyes and I was able to finally understand it. But that's the only way you can understand the unknown, unseen God. If he did something like that, and everyone else is just guessing for sure. Absolutely. Religion and politics, same thing, manipulation of the words and mind and heart. I'm not going to deny at all that religion will manipulate. Many denominations of Christianity are absolutely twisting stuff. Many religions are twisting things for sure. Timothy Gallagher, my Blue Wrencher Power. Does anyone want to be associated with bad meteorologists with terrible radar tech? No, I don't think they do. What's the definition of spiritual awakening? Is it objective or subjective? I think it's different for everyone, because I call a spiritual awakening it's like a calling from God is the way I think of it. I say I had a spiritual awakening before I was saved. And I used to call it, when I was first saved, I call it a spiritual awakening, but I've kind of refined in my own language. So it is subjective, I believe. But I think to have your eyes open for the first time that there is something beyond our physical world. There is a spiritual, there is a divine. Any of that revelation is definitely an awakening. And there's obviously different scales of awakening. There's great awakenings. There's, very minor ones. Let's see, Nubs. The words I am the way could be translated in China as I am the Tao. Okay. And and mind you, the Tao was written far before the Bible. Yes, it was. There's a lot of things that were written way before the Bible, um, especially the New Testament. It has nothing to do. So the older the better. Is that what you're saying? The less likely, because the older it is, the less likely, or the more likely it's been changed, or you know, words to manipulate. I guess according to what you've been saying. How do you believe what the Tao says? I don't know. You trust in its wisdom, and there's nothing wrong with it. I read the Tao, and I definitely I trusted in its wisdom, but I think that there is so much beyond that. There's philosophies that are lower levels, and there's actual accounts of God and claims of truth that are divine in nature and not just spiritual in nature. How could David stand up to Goliath if he thought something was wrong? Faith over fear, right? Laughable. No, I'm not seeing exactly what you're going with that, but Timothy, does anyone really, really want to be right about something only to get a rejection letter? Yeah, exactly. Don't take it personally. Yep. I don't care whether I'm right or I am wrong as long as I'm standing in truth. All the other is feelings based mentality and not of the creator, at least not the plan that is exemplified in nature. Um, so I believe that people should be on a relentless journey for the truth. I believe that we should always be searching for a deeper meaning in our life. And I believe that we all are. I can't remember his name. He was a Holocaust survivor who wrote, he was an amazing author and wrote about his time there. But he said that that is all life is a search for a deeper meaning in life, something to fulfill us, to have a purpose. And he wrote about the accounts of how men would just sit there suffering and worrying and saying how cursed they all were. And there were men that would come in high spirits, even though everything was going wrong, and trying to lift everyone up and giving people their last piece of bread. And those are the type of people who just made it possible to get through it. Because if there's no morale and there's nobody lifting people up, then there's no hope. You have to have hope. Um, Marjorie Garner believed in what? Sorry, not sure what you're referring to. Have you ever wondered why I'm here? Maybe it's the same reason. Uh, I I'm glad you're here. Like I said, I enjoy having the questions, but I'd like you to open up more as to your ideas on how you have any kind of relationship with your creator, or how you're doing right by your creator, and where you get those sources. And I guess the Tao is that the only source you get that you think is God breathed or something, or is that just because that was obviously written by man? It wasn't claimed to be written by anyone else. Yeah, you don't want to question if you read the Old Testament. Mm, I always question the Old Testament. I love questioning the Old Testament. Is it metaphorical? Is it literal? Every different story? Again, it's uh, as as I heard someone say, the Bible is not one big book. It is like the highlights from the spans of thousands of years, and we think it all just happened one thing after another. No, there were hundreds or thousands of years between events sometimes, and this is just God's relationship with man. God trying to guide man, and man continuously rejecting God. Cold Case Christian Studies, have to catch an episode. Yeah, it's very interesting for sure. Oh, and the Chinese burned a test pilot with a rocket chair. Oh, man. Oh, the Chinese, we'll get into them. Okay, so the modern Chinese, the Communist Party, they have changed the Bible. They took the Bible and changed all of the things to fit their socialist communist ideology. And they forbid anyone to have a Bible that speaks the actual real truth of the Bible and only the truth that they want people to see. You can look it up. Fact check me. I didn't know if it was true at first either. They absolutely did that. Like in the TV series Three Body Problem. Yeah, Three Body Problem. I watched that, but I don't know what you're referring to as far as the three body problem there. So the Chinese are right about the stars, but not right about the books they wrote. And the Bible is more important. Please explain how that works. Okay, Nubs, you want to see how right the Chinese were and how they went astray? Go and look at who the first religion of the Chinese were. Before Buddhism and Confucianism and all that stuff, go read who the Chinese worshipped 6,000 years before Christ. So, what, 8,000 years ago? I'll give you a little hint. Just Google Shangdi, Shangdi. It is basically the story of Genesis, word for word in the beginning, the creation. They worshiped Yahweh. It seemed like they built great temples to Shangdi. So they were right at one point. I believe a lot of people, a lot of different faiths and religions were, but they went far astray. But you wanted evidence outside of the Bible. I gave you evidence that corresponded with events that happened in the Bible. I wasn't giving those events. I was just saying what the emperor wrote. I don't know why the emperor wrote that. Was he still worshiping Shangdi? I don't know. I don't know who he was worshiping at the time. The Bible supersedes everything in my eyes. It does to me too, Gabriel. But people don't want to believe anything written in it, so they're trying to find things outside of it. So I just try to give them whatever like the Chinese astronomers recording events that correspond with things that happened in the Bible, eerily close to what they are. Sorry, I'm Matea, and hello, thanks for answering questions. Oh no, don't ever be sorry. Feel free to ask me anything. I can't read the trolls stuff, but I would definitely read any honest questions. Okay, and Nubs has another one. Here's another question: how does Mazaroff work without the Americans? The questions that Christians cannot answer, much like Days of Our Lives. Not sure exactly what you're getting at there. I'm sorry. Who is the astronomer? The Chinese people had astronomers. Is that what you're talking about? Thank you, Mr. Wonderful. I swear I'm gonna start thinking I'm actually good looking from people. But I know you're talking about inner beauty, and that's all that matters to me. And I really do appreciate that. And I'm trying to truly help anyone with their faith, and anyone, just find purpose and meaning in life and just lead them closer to Christ. But, obviously sometimes I'm not doing a good job, and sometimes I am. And please, please try to keep me in line. I rely on you all to say, hey, this is lacking soul, or this is not right. This is the correct here, and please, let me know if I'm getting out of the word too much, or I'm going astray. I want to hear what you all are thinking, because my job is to be here for you. And yes, it's fun to debate with people who aren't Christians and everything. And I think that Christians should know about things like Christian apologetics, which is searching the truth of the Bible and all the answers. But the most important thing is that relationship with Christ, and helping others. Once you do have that firm relationship, helping guide others along that path, and helping lift them up, and carrying that cross if the weight is too much for them. Just like Christ needed Christ needed the cross carried for him too, by Simon of Cyrene. The Roman soldier ordered Simon of Cyrene to go pick up the cross because he was so weak and so tired he could not carry it himself the whole way. Matea, I'm a T word. Absolutely, I'm glad you're here. And any questions you have, feel free to answer them. Although I cannot say that word because that gets me a strike on YouTube. I can't say what you identify as because that gets me a strike on YouTube, I think. Or it could. It's not quite clear to me what gets me a strike on YouTube and what doesn't. Nubs, if you disagree with the channel, in this channel, you will most likely be backhandedly persecuted. I'm not sure what you mean, Nubs. I'm not trying to persecute you. I'm just trying to question you to know. Again, I want to know where you get, how you know what your creator thinks, how you know what is right and wrong. Is it just what you think is right and wrong? I mean, would Adolf in the 1930s and 40s Germany, he thought he was doing right in his idea, so was that right or was that wrong? And who's to say what's right or wrong? Is it just individually, or does it come from God? Does morality come from, are we instilled with it when we are born? I'd like to know more what you think about this stuff. It's a Christian thing that I found most hateful people quite fascinating. I'm hateful. I'm sorry, brother, if you find me hateful. You could have stopped at men are fallible instead of continuing with your own rhetoric. Okay. If he is unknown, then how do you know him? We know him, the unknown, unseen God. The Apostle Paul talks about this, if you don't remember, when he took the Stoics to the temple of the unknown God. The Greeks worshipped, or the Greeks had a temple for, at least. I don't know how much they worshipped him. He said we could never know the unknown, unseen God outside of space and outside of time unless he came to earth as a man to show us his nature, to teach us about him, to teach us how to have a relationship with him. That's one of the entire tenets of the reasons for Christ's coming here. Nubs, how is it even possible that this is different for everyone? If the Spirit is within you, with you, according to your book, tongues of fire go over your head. I'm not sure what you're referring to, brother. I'm sorry if I offended you somehow, but I'm trying to have just a conversation with you. Or are you responding to somebody in the chat that I didn't see? Slingshot was mentioned in the Bible. Quite useful, simple product. Yeah. The more likely that the dial was maybe the Tao, maybe? Is that what you're talking about? Copied to the Bible, or at least the spiritual teachings. I don't see how you're seeing that, brother. Okay, but okay. They are clearly found all over the Bible. The Tao has no wisdom in it. It is just words on paper. Okay. Well, then why do you read it? What do you said you follow it, though. If it has no wisdom in it, then I'm not getting what you're saying here, brother. You're contradicting yourself. All right, I'm going to try to get to some other people. Uncle Riz, great to see you, brother. Anyone here try fasting or for a breakthrough or to break the yoke of bondage to sin? That's a good question. Obviously, I have not, but I I go in deep prayer. But I mean, if God led me to fasting, I mean, I've fasted for a day or two, but not as a religious thing. But I think that any way to clear your mind, to clear your mind of all the noise and all of the chaos and get into just thinking about God and just having that one-on-one with God. And that's why I go out into nature, or you can go into a quiet room, or you can find, a place like that for yourself. But a lot of people say fasting works for them. And obviously it's a biblical thing too. So, go ahead and try it. If it, let me know how it goes for sure. Yeah. If anybody else has any experiences, let me know. The Journal of Really Awful Spaceship Experiments still being written. Yeah. Uh, we're going to the Mayan account, Nubs. I'm trying to get to, let's see here. Smiley Skate. Do you have a gun license? No, I don't have a license, but I do have a guns. That were passed down to my family. I just have an old shotgun and a old pistol, old 22 pistol, but that's just for home protection. But I used to shoot more when I was younger, and I wasn't good at it or anything. And I went hunting a few times, not anything serious for sure, but a lot of my family's hunters and shooters for sure. That's the only reason I did. Why would I need a license for an investment? Or were you not asking me? Okay. Timothy, YouTube still has a complicated scorecard. YouTube is very complicated, their censorship. It's basically, if we don't like you, we're going to find some way to kick you off of there. So, do you play GTA? I don't play GTA, if you're asking me. But a lot of friends who do play video games. I don't play many video games at all anymore. I don't do. It might seem like a boring life to some, but I am almost fully in the Word now and going out and well, I can't say that. I do things. Obviously, I watch football. I write and read, but it's usually about Christ now. Trying to think of things I do that don't really involve anything religious or anything. Let's see. I will go out from time to time looking for gems and minerals and mushrooms and edible plants and things like that. But yeah, uh, it's definitely a boring life on paper for sure. Do I believe in aliens? Yeah, I think I do believe in aliens. You know, I think that the government had some sort of alien technology that they haven't told us about, and that's why we're seeing all the little drones that seem to defy the laws of physics flying around, or not drones, but unidentified flying objects. Timothy, Stoics are the folks that wear bed mattress sheets rather than Hugo Boss jackets. Yeah, yeah, they were for sure. Nubs, tongues of fire, day of panic, Pentecost, maybe. Oh, you're talking about Pentecost? What were you saying about tongues of fire? With you mean the divided tongues when during the Pentecost when they received the Holy Spirit? What about it? Um, I said I'd listen to it, and the wisdom is not in the book. Oh, okay, okay. The wisdom is inside of you. Oh, okay, yeah. See, you got the deep stuff there. The book refers to wisdom inside, much like the Bible refers to the kingdom of heaven being found inside of you. Well, I mean, there's a lot of debate on, how we communicate with God for sure. I like to go back to the Genesis verse about Jacob wrestling with God and seeing the stairway or the the Jacob's ladder, the stairway to heaven, that the angels were coming up and down from into heaven. And uh, he said the place where he met with God and the place where he wrestled with God was a place called pineal. And then we have the pineal gland. And then we have all these references to the pineal gland, which is like the Pope has a big staff that has a pine cone on it. And that's a representation of the pineal gland, apparently. And all these different references to the pineal gland, which I don't. I got into that more when I was just studying all the different ideas of faiths and religions and spiritualities. But I mean, it is, I guess, if you want to say inside of you, our spirituality is unseen. So I guess that could be inside of you if you finally are enlightened to see it in a certain way. If your eyes are open, then I guess you could say that's inside of you because it's not something that's physical. The divine and the spiritual are not physical except for when Jesus came to earth. They can affect the physical, and obviously God can affect the physical, and the spiritual somewhat can affect the physical. Let's see. King David said, "I humbled my soul with fasting." Yeah, so it's definitely worth trying. Psalm 69:10. Nub's Revenge, or as you have not fasted, how do you stay humble? I stay humble by I've been broken down so many times. Are you kidding me? I have been broken down so many times. It's just incredible. I have been humbled more than almost anyone I know, just with relentless tragedy, trauma, heartbreak. We're talking deaths, people taking their own lives, very close family and friends, miscarriages, poverty, all these things. That keeps me very, very humble. And I go and I humble myself before God as much as I can in the wilderness. I humble myself. I absolutely try to sacrifice and just give to the Lord everything that I can, but it's never going to be anything close to Christ-like for sure. I'm definitely far from perfect, and no figure in the Bible except for Jesus Christ is. No figure I've ever met or seen accounts of in real life is. Being humble and being broken are not the same. If you are broken enough, you either go one of two ways. You are either humbled or you are broken to where you just fall apart and just go into a spiral, for sure. Being broken does not make you be humbled. But when you have nothing, when you want your life to end and you give it all, you say, "I will surrender my life to you, God," then I give it all to God. I mean, if you don't think that's being humbled, then okay. If you think fasting is for some reason is the only way to be humbled, that's an interesting take, but I strongly disagree with you. I've experienced a vast majority of all that also. Okay, that's what does that word mean to you? What does humbled mean to me? Humbled means to understand that we are basically to be broken down. So to be humbled is to know that we know nothing, to know that we are definitely not the small g gods or the big G God, to not think that we are somehow smart enough to understand the mysteries of the world, and to just, being humbled. I mean, I don't know why you think that being broken down does not humble you. To being poverty and to going through tragedy after tragedy does not humble you. You think that that somehow builds you up? I'm not sure what you think that being broken does to you, but having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance, he was humble about his stature as one of rock history's most influential guitarists. Yeah, okay. Just like I said, he was humble. He didn't say he was the greatest guitarist of all. I'm the rock god. I'm the best of all time. Nobody will ever be better than me. No, we are humbled as an athlete. You can be humbled by saying, yes, you might be a great athlete, but you know you can be beaten. You know that you don't know it all. You know you don't, you are still just a man, and you are humble before God, being brought low, being seeing the truth of your existence will humble you. That is what the word means. That is what the word means nowhere in it. Does it say broken? Okay. I'm saying if you are broken, are you not humbled? What does it mean to be humbled? Go look that up in Google if you want. I thought Islam, Matea, I thought Islam was the quickest growing faith in the world. It is a pretty quick growing faith for sure. And do you know why? Is because people crave structure. People crave that. There are too many Christians who do not take faith seriously. And that is why Islam is growing faster than Christianity, for sure. And it is, we have gotten so far from morality at all in this world, so just in complete chaos. And Muslims, they want to keep you in line for sure. And people want to be told what to do a lot of it. They want order and they want structure in their life. And nobody's giving them an honest account of what Christ is and what Christianity is, so that's why they're choosing Islam, and I think that's very sad. Yes, many sheep in this world looking for a sky daddy, not willing to do the work. That is true. I mean, I guess that's, you do have a point there. Not willing to do any work at all. They want to. The New Age spirituality is a good example of that. They just want to go out there and just like, oh, it's like the hippie type thing. Oh, we're going to manifest our reality. We're going to do this and that. I mean, we can create whatever affirms us for sure. I would say being humble would be not be going to the doctor and accepting what the Creator has given. That is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. That's called blind faith. That's not called being humbled. That's called being dumb. Okay? God does not tell us, don't go to the doctor if you're sick. No. He gives us remedies that grow in nature. So, doctors and science can take those things to heal us, to make us better. I guess you could be, have blind faith of something for sure. I mean, if you trust in God and you don't want to go to the doctor, that's your choice for sure. But that's not being humbled. That's just a different opinion of what you think maybe the Bible says or whatever religion you're following. I literally just gave you the definition of being humbled. What does it mean to be humbled? I guess the verb. People want a sky daddy. That's all they want. A reason to exist outside of themselves. Yeah, okay, there's nothing to the fact that there is a calling from something outside of themselves. They feel a guiding force outside of themselves. Disregard every single spiritual and divine encounter ever told as just a fantasy. And yeah, okay, I mean, I mean, the way that you say Sky Daddy, it's basically, you are using the same logical fallacies that atheists everywhere I see using. So they can negate their responsibilities and be lacking in self. People do want to create God in their own image. I've said that repeatedly. When I had potential cancer in my mouth, did not choose to go to a doctor. I chose to go to the very herbs that the Creator created for the purpose of healing my body. Good. Okay. And a lot of times doctors will have access to herbs that may be growing somewhere else. Maybe go to a holistic doctor if that's your approach. But, if you have cancer and, there are, I'll give you an example, turkey tail mushrooms. I heard a testimony about a guy who was a biologist, and his grandmother came to him, and she didn't like to go to the doctor, and she had stage 4 cancer in her breast. And he took her to the doctor, and they said, you have a couple months to live. All we can do is make you comfortable at this point. But people at his school, I guess in Wisconsin, I think it was, or Minnesota or Wisconsin, they were studying turkey tail mushrooms and the effects it had on cancer, particularly breast cancer. So he was like, well, okay, what the hell? And he started giving his grandmother the turkey tail mushrooms, and complete remission the next time she went to the doctor. It was quick working. And he said he switched fields from just some kind of other biologist to mycology, the study of mushrooms. And he said they still don't understand what these mushrooms do, but somehow when you have cancer, your body doesn't know whether or not that cancer is something bad. So your immune system does not go and try to attack it and heal your body. These mushrooms, these turkey tail mushrooms particularly, they tell your immune system, hey, look out for this cancer here. You're missing something. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. There's all these mysterious mushrooms and herbs and all these things that we probably don't even know about, 99% of them. And they do just miraculous things, for sure. You are cracking me up. Okay, I'm glad I'm making you laugh. Love you, Mr. Wonderful. Humboldt is the action of humble. Okay. Hot or cold, great. Just don't be lukewarm, right? Yeah, that's what they say in Revelations for sure. Hot or cold, don't be lukewarm. When was the last time that your doctor told you to take a plant? They don't, but they have the pharmaceutical companies that process these plants, and I do not trust the pharmaceutical companies, but yet I have to take certain things sometimes from the pharmaceutical companies. But I do try to take holistic, I guess, medicine. If you call like things like kratom and medical cannabis and all these things, I prefer those over any pharmaceutical for sure. But if I have I don't know, you name it. If I have cancer and it's not responding to anything and it's growing aggressively, then I'm going to either decide whether I want to get treatment through the medical system or not. For sure. You take turkey tails every day. Good for you. Yeah, it really does help in the immune system. So do lion's mane and the ones that make the zombies out of ants. What is it? I forget the name of them. But yeah, they're all supposedly very good for the immune system. And then there's some that are good for the mind, for mental acuity and stuff. Let's see. A lot of the time, I will go out and resource it myself. Yep, good job. Yeah, that's the way you should do it. Become as independent as you can, for sure. And yet you go to a doctor instead of trust the creator after admitting that it's all there ready to go. Oh, nubs. That was a question, not a statement. Yes, I will go to a doctor sometimes because I have no knowledge of how to heal myself in certain ways, for sure. For sure. If I break a bone, I'm going to go to a doctor to get the bone set right because unfortunately, I will pray to the Creator, and He's not going to set that bone for me most of the time. But I guess if I had enough faith, maybe He would. Maybe He'd heal me just like He healed, like the Apostle Paul and all the disciples and apostles were healing in the Bible. I don't know. I've never gotten to that level of faith yet. I wish I could, but I haven't. I'm always working on it. Doesn't the Bible say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge Him? Yep. And things born of the flesh are of the flesh, things born of the Spirit are of the Spirit. Two separate things there. Yet you still to go to a doctor, explain the logic. And I go to an accountant if I can't figure out my taxes. And I go to professionals who know what they're doing to figure out if I can't fix my roof, for example. I've worked on roofs before, but I'm not a roofer now and I can't climb up a ladder. I will call a roofer to fix my roof. I don't call upon the Lord to fix my roof. We rely on other people because the things of the flesh are of the flesh. You are misconstruing everything in the Bible. I trust in my actions and my relationships 100% in God. I don't always, because I doubt sometimes, and I every time I sin I doubt, but you are just trying to take it in strange directions. Lion's mane, chaga are the two that I take specifically for brain function. Yeah, lion's mane's good for immunity too, isn't it? Level Plain Productions, wouldn't bet on it. Trust yourself. Okay, well, I mean, again, I go to a professional. I do not trust doctors. You don't understand. Before 2020, I trusted doctors at least a good bit, but I do not put much trust in doctors now. But there are things that I don't know. I don't know how to set a bone. I don't know how to do a lot of things. I don't know how to do surgery when the disc in my back gives out. I'm sorry that I do not know how to do that myself. And I didn't even have faith in God then. I mean, I believed in a God, but I didn't have close faith in a relationship with Christ. But yet I had to get that surgery. And when the next level of my spine gives out, which it should have given out 5 years ago already, I'm 5 years past the mark where they said it was going to give out, then I will have to go back and have yet another surgery because I do not know how to do that myself. Please explain to me where you have taxes or for capital gains. Look up the tax code. Yes, I have traded stocks and crypto for many years now, since 2020. I bought Dogecoin when it was 0.0004 cents, so I got lucky. But I was just playing around and I didn't know what I was doing. But then I started learning how to trade a little bit. But I also will sell things on eBay, and then we'll have to do my taxes for that. And I do not know how to do my own taxes. Well, I do. I do TurboTax, but because it's not that complicated. But if I had to read the tax code, have you seen the tax code? Have you seen how insanely long the tax code is? It's ridiculous. So you sometimes, especially if you have more money, you have to go to a tax accountant. I'm not saying personally I go to a tax accountant, but if I had to, I would. That makes sense. That's why Christianity works for you. I would assume dope because you will call another man. You will assume dope, or does that mean doubt or dope? And if you ask the Creator to send you somebody to expand your faith, and then you complain about it when He shows up, well, that's on you, sir. I don't ask anybody to expand my faith. I will go to a church sometimes. I don't go to a church for my faith. I don't have to. My faith is completely between me and God. I go out and I have my own personal relationship with God, just as everyone should have a private, intimate relationship with God. Churches are important for community, for having others there who are of similar faith to help you, maybe in certain things, maybe to, you know, guide you to opportunities in life, or help you when you are sick. We have food drives for people who, are going through a lot of terrible traumas and disabilities and all kinds of things. Uh, I'm still not understanding where you're thinking. I seem to be triggered when you were caught in your own cognitive dissonance. I think you're trying to make up stuff here, brother. It's getting a little ridiculous. Lucky man. I wish I got in that early. Never thought about it. Yeah, I got lucky, but you know what? I lost a lot of it too. I I went from $40 in my account, and by the time it hit its high, and I started getting into other coins at the time too. Once it started doing good, I got into like Ethereum and another bunch of other stuff. It was up to $16,000 from $40, and then I lost probably 75% of that. I would guess, because I thought I was so smart and I thought it would just keep going up like an idiot. Uh, this whole uh, this whole creation is designed to cause trauma and pain. Whoever made place to something to me wasn't a loving being. Um, God gave us free will. God created the natural earth. The ruler of the material earth, the things of the flesh, is not God. Now, God is so powerful, He can intervene in that to a certain extent, but He limits Himself. The one causing you pain, I'm not sure, because your thing was like, had a little bit of typo. I'm not sure what it meant exactly. The one causing you pain is not God. It is when you turn away from God that you have the pain. I'd mentioned earlier, I'm literally waiting for a call that my mom has passed away. That she is in very poor health, and she might have sepsis now, and any one of these days it could be, unfortunately, we're expecting it very soon. And I just had another cousin pass away. I was told you about, from, they think it was the Ozempic. I had my grandmother pass away just before that. I had my mother-in-law pass away about a year before that. And all these things happening since I've been saved. And I had a bunch of deaths and suicides and all kinds of things in my life, miscarriages before I was saved. The vast difference in the peace and the understanding I have now that I have a personal relationship with God is almost undescribable. It is, I'm telling you, this is why I find it so important for me to go and help others and guide them to Christ. I'm guiding them to Him. I'm not trying to help them in their relationship, because that is between them. I'm trying to guide them to Him because it changed everything for me. I would be sitting here literally physically ill right now. I was, not only did I have this grief all the time and an anxiousness about, because my parents were in poor health before I was saved, I would sit by the phone worrying, sick, literally physically ill some nights. I would be physically ill about trying to pay my bills because I've lived in poverty for since I was disabled 15 years ago. I sat and I worried, how am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to keep a roof over my kid's head? And since I've been saved, not once have I been late on a bill. Not once have I worried about a bill. Somehow the money that I need comes. I'm not saying I've gotten rich for sure. I'm still just above the poverty line. But everything changes when you put your faith in God. And it's true. There's no way that I can put my full faith into God completely, because we would become like Christ then, exactly like Christ then. It would be magical. But my mind is of flesh, and the flesh is always weak, and it is always giving into desires, giving into pleasures, giving into our own understanding of things, and leading me astray. But the more I stay devoted to God, the more I surrender to Him, the greater my life becomes. I can't even explain how much. I was not a smart man. Again, I could not read the Bible and understand it. After I was saved, I read it, I consume it. It speaks to me in layers of wisdom, layers. Every single chapter and every single verse is just hidden layers of wisdom that call out to me. And before, I was sitting there like, thou art no, thou art do not understandeth. I couldn't get it. I have the wisdom I never learned. I have, I guess there's nothing financially that's changed since now and then. In fact, if anything, I've devoted almost all of my time to YouTube, which I do not get paid for. I guess there's a couple ads that run now that I might be getting $100 every like 4 months or something. It's like nothing, and I'll get some super chats every now and then now, and I really do appreciate that. But it's not nearly enough to make a living on. I would Before, I was doing eBay, selling stuff on eBay, and that was how I was making extra money. There is no difference in my financials now and then, except for I do less work and make less money, and I still have not struggled to pay a bill. I do not worry about any of it at all anymore. And the worry is gone. And this grief and anxiety I would be feeling right now, because of course I will be sad if my mom passes away. It's very sad to lose someone that you love so much. I love my mother so much. She was an amazing mother. I couldn't have asked for a better mother. And I know when she goes that she will be there waiting for me. It is just, I will be sad because I won't see her for a long time until it's my time to go up there. And I know that she will be waiting for me now. God has made it clear to me, not exactly what happens when we die, not the nature of heaven and hell and the afterlife, but I have seen beyond this reality enough to know that we will be with them again, that this is not goodbye, that it is absolutely, I will be seeing most of my loved ones there again. And it is why another reason why I'm so desperate to lead as many to Christ as I can, because it is a total transformation. I was formerly, oh, you're still going on about taxes? All right. Oh, thank you, Fulano. Thank you. Said when you asked the creator, reread the statement before you started your rant. Um, I'm, I'm sorry, brother. My back is starting to hurt now. Nubs, I'll try to get more into our debate again next time, but I feel like it's kind of going in circles now, because you're trying to say that if I don't, if I have a roof and I don't ask God to come and fix it, that I am not relying on the Creator for everything. It's not what it means at all. You're taking things literally that are not literally. You're taking things out of context that aren't in context. Again, God said, when you must be born again to see the Jesus said you must be born again to see the kingdom of heaven. And Nicodemus the Pharisee, who was asking him how about the kingdom of heaven, said, I don't understand. I'm an old man. What am I supposed to crawl up in my mom's womb and come out the birth canal? Because neither of us are equipped for that. I don't think, and and Jesus was like, you're supposed to be one of the great teachers of Israel, and you don't understand that the things born of the flesh are of the flesh, the things born of the spirit are of the spirit. When we are born again, sometimes I guess we do, but most of the time we don't physically die. We are dying a spiritual death. We die before we die. It is a spiritual thing. We are humbled. The verb of it, we are humbled because we finally understand that all the things we thought we knew in life are wrong, or all the things that were important that we thought we knew, we didn't understand. And so there's a big difference between the physical and the flesh and the spiritual and the divine. Don't don't listen to Nub's Revenge. Sounds like really I know. I don't mind having the everybody who makes me think in different ways for sure. 16 to 40K. Oh my. Uh, I'm 16 to 40K. What did I mention that was, or mention something else? What the hell is a nub and why does it need revenge? Skittles. I know what a nub is, and I guess in certain contexts you'd probably want revenge for it, right? Maybe that's the reason to be mad at God. I don't know, or not believe in one. Uh, Level Plains production. He never shows up when I'm. Uh, never shows up, in my opinion, when someone sees is a miracle. Is when they hit the lottery. God will let you be in millions, but you don't see God finding the people who were two houses over being tortured. Uh, Winning the lottery is definitely not a miracle of God. Winning the lottery is, if anything, a seduction and a manipulation of the devil. Because we will think, look at most lottery winners, they will lose that, they will blow it or they will lose it somehow within 3 years on average. And they will be in worse shape than than never having won the lottery to begin with. It is a lie to think that money is going to give you fulfillment or happiness at all. The miracle in my life was the day I was saved. The day I went out, I was at my lowest because, again, I'd had all these tragedies of deaths and suicides and traumas and poverty and pain from disability. And then my dad was recovering from open heart surgery, and my mom had her stroke. And I was like, God, I can't. You keep piling these things on my shoulders. I cannot bear the weight anymore. Please just show me. If you show me some way out of this, I will surrender my life to you. If you show me some kind of sign or guidance, I will surrender my life to you. And not even 10 minutes later, a white-tailed doe comes running out of the woods, stops, bows her head, lets me pet her, and then comes down onto the lakeshore where I was walking and walks alongside of me for over an hour. And from that day, instantly, my entire life changed. Now, I guess there could be maybe somehow way to conjure up how all of these events happening at once kind of maybe triggered something in my mind to where I knew things that I never knew before, to where I somehow did not suffer anymore, to where I was not even though I was still living just above the poverty line, I wasn't ever having to worry about bills, and not having worry about my family who's sick and dying, and not suffering, and loving people, and going from being socially anxious so bad that I was crippling me, to all of a sudden going out and speaking to random strangers like they were my best friends for decades. It is a miracle. It is beyond a miracle. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to have some profound thing like this, but the divine encounter in your life, however God decides to reveal himself to you and to come to you, will be equally as important and equally as miraculous, because it will be transformational. And that's why I have devoted my life to him completely. You only lose when you sell. If you kept it, then there would have been up again. Yeah, and I didn't know that either, Fulano. But yeah, I was definitely um, big time into the crypto, and somewhat stocks, but mainly crypto, because you could do those 24 hours a day, and I was doing them all night. Nubs, well, if that's the case, you think uh, it, if you think I'm looking to make things up, then you should create a link, and we can actually have a conversation, instead of you looking at the chat being 20 minutes late. All right, man. I will have a conversation with you one day, but I am not, again, I am not looking to have these debates where it's like you're trying to create this logic loop where, again, you're just trying to do these loops. Because again, I went and watched you on Jax a little bit, and yeah. But if you want to have a chat, I'll have a chat for sure. Polano, nah, man, stop replying to Nub's Revenge. He lives in his own world. Forget him. I know, I know. I need to. We'll talk to you another night, Nubs. I've got to get off of here anyway, everybody. I'm so sorry. Uh, Level planes. Yes, I believe that no matter what religion you are, this simulation is going to show you whatever that is Christ buds, whatever. You will see it as beautiful, so you want to come back. It's a hologram. Okay, well that's one idea of it for sure. The Matrix definitely changed many people's perspectives on if we were living in a simulation or not. It's like you're asleep in the real outside of this place, and they put all the consciousness in this sim to cause pain and then leech off negative emotions, fear, anger, etc., parasitic entities. You can, yeah, okay, but nobody can ever prove or disprove whether we live in a simulation. There's no evidence of any of this. There's no evidence against it, because it's simply an idea. I mean, anything could literally happen. Anything could be possible. Again, we could be, just cells in a all of our universe is just a tiny little part of a cell that in a giant another being, and it goes on for eternity, and I mean there's all kinds of things that could be for sure. We have to go by the best evidence we have, and that is why I chose Jesus Christ. That is why I was led to Christ before I even knew of this stuff. So I went searching. Hey, is this true? Is this not true? And the evidence pointed to, yes, the evidence pointed to this is the best evidence we have right now. Let's see. You know that there's layers to this place, and they trap us here in an endless carnation. Ellen, stop, LOL. No English. Sorry, Nero. That's all I know. ¿Cómo está? Muy bien. Gracias. No, very little Spanish, but not much. I'm sorry. No, I just yeah. It's just yeah. I know you're just asking questions, but I am right now. My back is hurting, so I'm trying to wrap it up for the night. But I'll get back with you another night. I'm gonna try to see what I need to do to get like an actual like couple of people on here maybe. But it's usually just me trying to talk to some of the people in the chat late at night. I usually just do my videos and respond to comments for a while. I just want to hear what's going on with everybody else and what people are struggling with. But I'm glad to have conversations about the legitimacy of Christianity and the illegitimacy of Christianity and anything you want. But it kind of goes to a place where I give you this and you're like, well, you're going off onto why do you go to a doctor? Shouldn't you trust in God for everything? I mean, it goes nowhere because that makes no sense to me at all. Okay, let's try to see some of the other people here. Hattie, I believe in God. Good, Hattie. Nice to hear it. Thank you for showing up. Bill, Skittles, what about my milk duds? My dog still can't leave milk duds when she can get them. Yeah, my dogs like to steal. They don't steal much candy, but man, they were trying to get. We made some chicken wings the other night, and my hound dog reached up and got a hold of one. Man, oh, he was in heaven. What does uh, what does what does do for a night on the town? Blow a few bucks. I don't have a night on the town anymore. To tell you the honest truth, I go out with my family to. Well, okay, I'll go to an occasional concert or maybe a comedy show, but I haven't been to a comedy show in years either. I've been to a couple concerts. I like the Band of Horses. I went to that was the last concert I've been to. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot because I've got a family and I'm live above the poverty line, so I really don't want to go out doing much because my pain, first of all, keeps me from moving too much past the day, and yeah, I get a lot of fulfillment from being in the Word, reading the Bible, watching Christian content, but I will watch other things on TV too from time to time. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm starting to ramble here. So let me go down to the bottom. I'll read a couple of the last ones, and then we'll see here. Okay, all right. All right, I'm going to get off of here though, because again, it's been a long couple days, and I have to be ready to get ready to go to Pennsylvania at a moment's notice. It's a 2-day trip for me because I got to break it up because my back can't take more than 5.5 hours of driving. But if any of you are Christians out there, I appreciate any prayers for me for my mom. Um, I don't know. It's not looking good for her. But just I pray for healing and guidance for everyone. God to open up our eyes and for God to show us how to best have a close relationship with Him. And I really do think, from my personal experience, that it is the most fulfillment I have ever even imagined in my life. And I know that most people, we're going through life and we don't even think about, we don't take God seriously, especially in America. I mean, most Christians don't act like Christians. They act like hypocrites, and we don't see it. We don't see any kind of change in their life. But there are a few. You just have to look for them. Look for the poor and the weak and the oppressed who have been born again, and try to ask them about their experience. If you are seeking Christ, or if you are, new to the faith, or still trying to build your relationship with Christ and haven't been born again, or even if you have been born again and want to strengthen that bond. The poor, the weak, and the oppressed are the ones who've been through tragedy after tragedy, the ones who have been broken. Those are the ones who can best show you the way to Christ, because they have nothing to hold on to like the rich do, like the privileged do, like so many do. And really, even a lot of the poorer people in our country, we have so many comforts that we cling to. When you have nothing to cling to in life because you understand that none of it is worth your worship, none of it is worth your energy and your time to find fulfillment in, then you will finally be able to surrender, and you will find meaning in every relationship. Every personal relationship will change. It will be transformational, I promise you. So I'm going to leave you guys on that. But I just hope that you guys have a great night and a great, I guess if it's morning or night wherever you are. I really appreciate you guys showing up and listening to me. I know I'm just starting to ramble here because I am in pain and tired, but I appreciate you always. God bless.